Hey guys, how you doing? This is Mark with Behind Closed Doors. Everybody can get it. Hey, this is a podcast series that I put together for the caregivers of the world, right? You know, whether you're caregiving for elderly care, disabled, or even what else to say, special need. I kind of forget about my special needs community, considering I got a special need one. But nevertheless, get right. I mean, I'm sure there's multiple other ways of caregiving for people. For basically, we service the people that care for people that can't care for themselves. So hopefully that sentence can sink in. We're here for the caregivers, right? That's the bottom line, right? Behind closed doors movement is our movement. This is the podcast right now that you're actually viewing. Actually, I'm in the as we speak now. I'm in the resource hub that we have. I've donated my garage to the game, so to speak. Nevertheless, guys, I also have caregiver exhibits as well. If you're in the Phoenix area, I'll drop a link here as well. You can always shoot me an email, RSVP, do a walkthrough. We can always use some donations. I mean, the whole purpose of what we do here in the resource center is connecting families, right? We're connecting. We're a support system. Hey, we get together. This is my little rah-rah, right? Just to have people here personally. We'll sit down. We have something to eat. We break bread. We communicate with each other, share resources, share stories, etc., etc. But yeah, nevertheless, guys, my caregiving stems to me, for me, man, since I was, about 3 years old, right? Just being a young boy, having to look out for my younger brother, right? That was, special need as well. Man, he's doing awesome, and I hope he continues to keep up the good work even at 47 years old. Nevertheless, I pretty much caregive with for him at a distance. I do have a son, Mark Jr. This is Mark right here. He's at 9 at that point, but he's 11. He has Down syndrome, autism, and ADHD. This is how the movement started, ladies and gentlemen, behind closed doors. It all started with a book, and I created a movement from the book. I felt it was needed. This is a resource guide for caregivers. Oh, that's the back part there. That's my lovely face and my wife there as well. I started a movement. This is a resource guide that actually helps people when they enter, a new position, so to speak, in caregiving, or you have a special needs child and here you don't know what to do or where to go, or you're a caregiver, you took on your elderly mom or your disabled friend or your wife or your husband or whatever. It talks about that, right? It talks about how to deal with them different systems and things like that, having a mentality. This is not the end all, right? It's not the Bible for all caregiving. It's a great start. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is to start. That book will be available. You can request it through the email, and I have it shipped out to you guys. It is available on Amazon as well. But if you want it to be a signed copy of the book, I can do it myself and have it shipped to you. But just shoot me an email and let me know. Again, ultimately, my late great mom, Virginia A. Taylor, right? I was caring for her the last year of her life. She actually moved to Arizona, where I'm at, Phoenix, Arizona. She moved from Wisconsin to here the last year of her life, and I took care of her, as well as, get my brother acclimated and everything as well. She took care of him, right? And then at some point he was taking care of her, and he kind of, burned out, right? Which we're going to talk about today. 5 signs of burnout. 5 signs of burnout. I know this is kind of a cliche, folks, but I've been accused of it, and it is what it is. It's real, right? It's burnout time, right? One of the exhibits that I have in the resource center, well, actually two exhibits. I got two exhibits that talks about burnout, signs of burnout, and things like that. So today we're going to talk about five signs of burnout. I know, like I said, it you know what I mean? You in the grind, man, you caring for people, everybody pulling on you, it's life. We men, you know what I mean? We doing what we do, but burnout, can get kind of caught in the ruffle a little bit if you would. Number one, right? Your body starts talking before you start talking, right? I know it seems kind of like, what you mean, Mark? Well, what that means is in appearance, right? In your appearance, it can actually show through, right? Once you start caring for other people and stuff, you start to lack desire for you, right? You're not shaving, you're not bathing as much as you like to bathe, or when was the last time you got dressed up? Right, with me, I'd say I'm pretty guilty of that, and I think part of it is not just caregiving and burnout and all that, but just taking on the load as a father, husband, and everything else, what comes along with it, and then ultimately an entrepreneur, right? Burning the midnight oils. I got two grassroots businesses right now that I'm trying to get off the foot, get off the foot here, and it's challenging, and burning the midnight oil and not getting limited, getting limited sleep and things like that kind of comes along with being an entrepreneur, and then we have compound interest, which is being a caregiver and having a son that's got sleep apnea and wake up multiple times at night and stuff like that. He's literally 24-hour care. So yeah, your body starts to showing right away when you're not having sleep and that sort of thing. You can see it in your face, right? You can see it in your body, your posture, and things like that. Those are signs of burnout, guys. You definitely make some correction, or somebody else will tell you, right? Your body slows down, right? Or show signs of odor and all those kind of things, right? You ain't brushing your teeth, you ain't combing your hair, and literally, it can get down to that when you start caring for somebody else. It's so easy to put you on the back burner. It's so easy. Number two, you don't feel like yourself anymore, right? Sadness, right? Just crying for no reason. Yeah, I've been there, right? I had them days, and it might not be directed to what's at that point right then and there. It's build up, and then at some point you find yourself like, man, it comes out, right? You still like, man, I've done it, what I mean? And you just start crying, man. You're like, damn, why am I crying? Right? Burnout. You stop doing things that you love to do. I mean, I'm a hell of a testament to that, man. I bought some golf clubs. I ain't swung one yet. I got big plans with my golf clubs. I ain't done nothing with them. I got fishing rods and stuff. I get out there every now and then. I did a couple videos, while I was out, fishing. But just little things like that. When you find yourself, man, just you ain't really taking advantage of nothing that you love to do. And as I think about it today, I'm just sitting there thinking like, damn, like when do I really look out for me like that and doing something that I love to do? At one point in time, man, I used to run the streets and hit bars and all that kind of stuff, shoot pool and drinking and all that. Yeah, that lifestyle. But at the end of the damn day, at least I had a venting system. I had something that I can do to kind of get that up off of me. If nothing else, even if it wasn't nothing but a Band-Aid, still, it was something to make you just, man, damn, give me a shot of that old Crown. Man, bring that weed here. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm not endorsing any of that stuff, y'all. All I'm saying is, damn, you either it's going to come out that way or it's going to come out another way. However you want it. Right? Yes, you do want to reach out to God. You want to have a relationship there. You want to be able to do that, think positive, all that other stuff. And all that stuff sounds great. But let's just keep it real, y'all. We all human, right? So, yes, you will start, not, doing the things that you love to do. Survival mode all the time. Damn, that's a tricky one, right? I mean, as relate to caregiving, they're saying that that's a clear cut sign that there's some burnout there because you always in survival mode. But damn, I come from survival mode, right? You living in the hood, you growing up the way that I grew up. It's just second hand, it's second nature. That matter of fact, if you ain't in survival mode where I come from, you might not make it, right? Literally survival mode, right? You got to stay in that mode, right? You got to make it. If whatever you got to do, that's where I come from. So now it's compound interest when caregiving is on top of it, right? Now it ain't gonna just disappear because I'm caregiving now. Survival mode is there, so it ties into that. That's a sign of burnout, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of how we got raised. Number 3, right? You're snapping out all the time. You find yourself snapping out. Small things feel big. You're apologetic, a lot. You're constantly apologizing for shit all the time because you got all kinds of stuff kind of going on. You're overwhelmed. You got all kinds of stuff going on. You got to shut down. I did a video, guys. You definitely want to tap in, right? Caregivers Chronicles. That's a platform on Facebook. It's really a resource for caregivers and special needs and all that other stuff, right? You want to tap in. But I did a video, man, where I just talked about, the bathroom being a sanctuary, right? Getting away. You know what I mean? Even if it ain't nothing but 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or whatever the case is. So it's like a running joke in my house about me going to the bathroom. And I'm like, guys, you just, you better let me go to that bathroom, right? You know what I mean? Because I know when this thing get to spinning and everything, man, I'm just not built the same anymore. When it comes to patience and shit, every little bitty little thing messes with you and kids yicking and yelling, and I had my mom here. Mark. You got all these people calling and literally calling. You know what I'm saying? It gets to be pretty overwhelming. Like I said before, small things feel big. You're apologetic, you're overwhelmed, etc., etc. You know what I mean? Those are signs of burnout, guys. You want to be able to tap in. Number 4, you feel alone when you're not. Right? Can't nobody convince me, man. It seems like it really do. It really do. And I know I have people around me that's that's good help and a good resource. But it does feel like that. It does feel like, man, you doing this, you doing all this shit on your own. And when you're caregiving, man, and you doing all that stuff, and nobody gonna care. Like, when I was in the prime with my mom and doing all that stuff, man, my wife and things were helping out, my daughter was helping out. But I'm gonna tell you, man, well, nobody gonna look, they're not gonna put in what I'm gonna put in. That's my mama, right? You know what I mean? And man, it's tough. Same thing with my son. You know what I mean? It's a level, it's levels to this. Right? Man, when it comes to care. So when I'm dealing with them, I can't expect everybody else to put in that same kind of, like me, if that makes sense. So yeah, you definitely feel alone. You feel nobody gets you. Um, let's see here. It's not reading it out. Isolation, man. I talked about that, and that's a fine line between isolation and getting some me time. Like it can very much get confused. You just thinking you getting some me time, or really you really is in isolation. You shut down, like, man, like you zoning out. One of the things that they also put down here as well is, it's gets kind of repetitive. You start forgetting shit. You know what I mean? And I'd be like, man, yeah, that definitely fits me, right? And some of it is, just life, and you get a little older and things happen, right? Your brain start moving a little bit differently, or you got so much shit going on, right? I literally can go into a room and be like, damn, why did I come in here? or I go to the store. I tell my wife all the time, like, I mean, I'm known for, you better text me. If you want something from the store, you better text me the list of stuff that you want. I mean, literally, I can go in the store, like she can tell me something, I go in the damn store and get what I need to get and walk right on out of there. And I'd be like, get in the car and everything. She was, oh, damn, I forgot to get what she want. You know what I mean? When you get like that, or I'm in the parking lot, man, I got so much stuff going on, phone ringing and all this kind of stuff going on, man. I done parked the car and I'm running around the lot trying to look for the car. Can't even find the car. So yeah, guys, yeah. Like I said, you feel alone, you feel nobody gets you, right? Man, that's real. That's real. It do feel like you just it feel like you on the rock all by yourself when when you're a caregiver. And that signs of burnout, ladies and gentlemen. Nevertheless, right? I'm reading all this stuff off. That signs of burnout. And then number 5, you're running on empty, right? Can't stop moving. Your mind is always on survival mode. I tapped in on that. You can't slow down. You know what I mean? You're available to everybody. You forget what sleep feels like. Man, I made it on record already. Like, man, I just, with my son that has sleep apnea that wakes up like that all the time, multiple times at night, just with safety and everything like that. I haven't had 8 hours of sleep in 11 years. I just haven't. Because he wakes up. And when he wakes up, you got to wake up. Because when he gets up, he's not just like the average typical kid, right? He gets up, he's all in the shit, And if you're really slipping and you left this door open, he's going out the door, right? We didn't experience that before, 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that. This cat, he done slipped up out of here, right? So, you're always like this. One eye open. And to be honest with you, at one point, man, my mom was like that. She wanted to get up and run. And even to the point where she couldn't get up, her legs weren't working like that. It was the fact that you tried to get up and you fell down and now you hurt yourself. You know what I mean? I got to deal with that. It's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're there yelling and she's on the floor hollering and screaming and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's just the life, man. You're running on empty, and we talked about survival mode. But yeah, guys, those are the 5 signs. Those are the 5 signs of burnout. I'm just going to read the headers real quick. Number 1, right? Your body start talking before you do, right? You don't feel like yourself anymore, right? You start snapping out all the time, right? That's on a regular. 4, you feel alone when you're not, right? You always think you alone. You all by yourself. You're running on empty, right? You can't sleep. You're constantly moving. So those are the 5 things, guys. I will be dropping links, man, in the comment section. You have all the information you need. I'll put all this stuff in there, from the same material that I'm reading from. And, hopefully you lock in, right? Like, subscribe, and share, guys. Help build this movement. If you can't do nothing else, just for caregivers. When it comes to caregiving, guys, and I say this all the time, when it comes to caregiving, right, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Your ass is going to get old, right? People around you going to get old, or you're going to take on somebody that's going to have a disability or something to that effect. Right, so it's just a matter of when, right? You're going to eventually play a caregiver role for somebody, or somebody's going to caregiver role for you. So let's not act like, that's them and they stuff over there. It don't work like that, right? We seen worst case scenarios when it comes to elderly care and things like that, or even special need care. Right, when things wasn't all together, I went through all that stuff with my mom. So let's not even talk about just the hand over fist of caregiving. Let's talk about you know what I'm saying, the financial side of it. And we talk about the 5 signs of burnout and, all that kind of stuff. But damn, let's talk about all that other stuff too, though. Wear and tear, the ripple effect that it has. I have a exhibit, I got one of my exhibits here talking about the ripple effects of caregiving for somebody, right? This shit doesn't just affect them or related to them. It affects the whole family. It affects your friends. It affects your life. It affects everything. Everything that I do is different now. I can't go sit up and play a card game all night and go kick it and shit. And then have my kid there or something and think that I'm just gonna just sit there and lock in. It just don't work like that. Every time I go over to somebody's house or something like that, and I got my son and I know he runs, it's this. Yeah, give me dominoes. Yeah. That's what my life is all about, like that. You know what I mean? So you're constantly going like that. Your brain constantly going, man, what could I do to make things better? How can I make things, better financially, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So guys, those are the 5 signs of burnout. Hopefully you this right here impacts somebody out there, right? You know what I mean? So if this, resonates with you, throw a 5 in there, right? Throw a 5 in the comment section that, hey, you know what I mean? This does relate to, like, you can relate to this, right? And then what if I missed something? I know I did, right? There's obviously more signs of burnout, but I just picked those 5 out that I thought was beneficial as well. So please guys, chime in, comment section, things like that. Tap in and put down, what's a burnout for you, right? If you're experiencing burnout, I'm sure I'm missing something. Everybody, journey is different. So thank you guys for chiming in. This is my episode of today's Behind Closed Doors. Everybody can get it. You guys take it easy, man.